Assalamu alaikum and hello, welcome back to His and Hers, where we talk about the power of perspective. With me today, I have my husband back on the show with us, and today we are going to talk about respect and what it means from a male perspective. Hello, Ashbet.
Hello, long time no see.
Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me once again.
Okay, so let's get to it. Before we start the show, I'd like to ask you one thing that you are grateful for.
That's a very tough question because there's lots that I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for you, I'm grateful for children. But the thing that I value most these days, considering the world that we're living in at the moment, is health. Health, because I think it's undervalued. And once we have a bout of ill health, then we, truly realize the importance of health. Because without your health, it sounds cliched, health is wealth, but it really is a fact. Because without your health, you really cannot do anything else. You can't be productive. So that's the first thing that comes to mind these days.
Yeah, there's so much to be grateful for, and it's especially the little things that we've been taking for granted, and we've realized now, I think, with COVID-19, to just be more grateful for the smallest of things. So let's get to the show. Let's get on with it. So it occurred to me that men and women, we view so many things differently, and on so many occasions, what may seem quite fine and not disrespectful to me may be disrespectful to my husband or to another man, for instance, based on maybe afterwards watching a YouTube video on relationships or listening to a podcast on male perspectives and things like that. I discover, that this could be interpreted as disrespectful to a man. So it occurred to me that I'm not the only one who struggles with this. Other women also, our views are different with regards to many things, and respect is one of those things. So another thing that occurred to me, and why I'm having my husband on the show, is that a lot of the time when we have conversations about men and relationships, it's woman to woman. And even on YouTube, so many videos about relationships, it's from a woman's perspective about men, what men think, what men view as disrespectful, and so on. So I'm fortunate to have my husband and that he is willing to be on the show and to tell us a bit more about what men view, how men view respect, and what is disrespectful to men.
So I think that's a bit of a loaded question, but I'll summarize it as best I can. They typically say that women value, they like to be nurtured and loved. That's the primary need. Now, the equivalent for the ladies to understand, as much as you require that love and attention and as strong as that drive is, a man's need and drive for respect is, it's equivalent to your need for love, if that makes any sense. So, typically, again, we say typically because it's not the norm everywhere, the man is regarded as the I don't do be you have to be PC these days, politically correct. So is regarded as the head of the home.
Mm-hmm.
Now I see it as I like to think about it as a government, as we are running a country, and the man is the president, right? His wife is the vice president, right? So and then you get deputies after that. The deputy vice president should be your eldest child, and it filters down. If you have grandparents staying with you, of course they are like the in Iran they call it the supreme leader, the supreme leader. Yeah, so he's above the prime minister, and that is the hierarchy of things. But it doesn't make the wife any less in terms of the respect that she should enjoy, that she deserves. And that's something that I constantly try and impart to our kids, is that to respect your mother. And so the struggle is real. So we work on it I try work on it on a daily basis. But so in essence, for a man wants to feel that, this is his primary drive, to take care of his family. This is it's innate. It's an innate emotion or feeling or drive rather. And so of course, when doing all of that comes with a lot of responsibility. And there is a particular way that if you understand the psychology of a man, that he would like to be addressed, and that he is made to feel that he is important and wanted, just like a woman does, or a child for that matter. So respect is really a two-way street. It has to be that way. And we as spouses need to respect each other, and then we also need to respect our children. But like I said, there is a hierarchy. So for example, if I'm the CEO of my company and I have a managing director who reports to me, and he has deputies that report to him, supervisors and so forth, whether it's the CEO or the janitor, they all deserve mutual respect. But at the end of the day, the CEO is the CEO. He has to be conducted. You have to conduct him conduct yourself in front of him in a particular way, because he is responsible. He is responsible for your livelihood, and he takes that responsibility seriously. If he wants an effective, a well-run company. So, and it takes lots of patience, diplomacy, and so that is that's basically what comes to mind. That, like everyone else, the man of the house, the worst thing that his wife can do, or sometimes the wife encourages the children to do, is to strip him of his dignity, and make him feel less of um, a man in a sense that he's made to feel, as if it's not important, as if what he does is, undervalued. Generally, men who then just, distance themselves in certain ways, and sometimes, then display undesirable behavior in certain cases. So yeah, that's basically what comes to mind.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. Um, yeah, I'm especially thinking about when you mentioned that the man is the head of the family and he takes on a lot of responsibility, and because of all that responsibility that he takes on, with responsibility comes respect, or yeah, with responsibility.
Ideally.
Yeah, ideally it should go hand in hand.
But without being sort of like a dictator or something like that. But so there comes a time where, for example, when it comes to the safety of the family, um, or other matters, could be financial or otherwise, that the man has to, he ideally, he consults with major decisions, just consults his wife and possibly the children as well. But ultimately, he's got to take decisions which will sometimes possibly change the course of their lives as a family, the whole unit. And yeah, so that is a big task.
Now tell me, what would be, because I also struggle with this, right? So sometimes I would say something and it would just be just something I would say to my sister, I would say to my friend, to anybody, right? But I may be wrong in the way I'm interpreting it, but it may come across as something disrespectful to you or to another man. So where does it go wrong there? Like what would be an example in a scenario between a woman and a man? What would be disrespectful?
Sometimes I personally would say something in jest, but it's meant to stay between the two of us, and it could sometimes then be misinterpreted as something that you could share. So and nobody likes to be embarrassed.
Okay.
Yeah,
so for a man, that would be disrespectful when you go over
no,
the line.
it depends on the man's personality, and
Okay.
and what you're sharing. But certain things, obviously need to stay confidential.
Okay.
That it's not such an open book, unless it's something very generic. But if it's something very specific, then yeah, it's not. Or talking about somebody's like personal habits, like
Okay.
perhaps a idiosyncrasy or something, various things.
So basically, respecting a man's
Dignity.
and just respecting what he tells you, keep it within bounds between the two of you, and knowing where to draw the line, like what to share and what to keep between you and him.
I'd say so.
So that goes within the spectrum of respect. Okay. But I'm trying to find another example of disrespect, of an interaction between I can't myself think of any particular example right now, but of an interaction between a husband and a wife, and the wife would have no idea that what she just did was disrespectful, or what she just said was disrespectful, but to the man that was like the most disrespectful thing she could have said.
So, if something is embarrassing, perhaps, like saying something to your mother about me in front of me,
Okay.
that would be cool. Depends on once again, it depends on the context and what you're talking about. But sometimes, depending on the man's personality, there's sort of like a fine line.
Okay, so it's about also respecting his honor and his dignity and putting him in a good light.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if this applies, but they say fake it till you make it, right? So but once again, it's a mutual thing. We need to have mutual respect for each other and preserve each other's dignity and at all costs, and not embarrass one another.
Yes.
So unless it's something that you absolutely have to get off your chest, you'd have to speak to somebody else. And I found that in most cases, the people closest to you are not the ideal people to speak to, because they are ultimately biased. So the perspective you get from them sometimes, or most times, could be one-sided. So it's best to speak to somebody who is absolutely neutral.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a particular occasion whereby I said something, and it was meant, well, as far as I know, on a conscious level, it wasn't meant to be disrespectful, or there wasn't any hidden meaning in it. And it was something to the effect of, I can picture the scenario and everything, like the exact words. Let me just think. I can't remember exactly, but we just moved into a new place in Cape Town, in South Africa. And I had said something to you, and it's really upset you. Do you remember?
No. And that's another thing you have to know, is that men forget these things very, very easily. So, yeah, I wouldn't have remembered.
I said something about the effort that you're putting in, or you don't have to worry about something. And in retrospect, actually, because it bothered me so much, I was thinking about it over and over, like what happened. All I meant was, I think I meant to thank you for something, or I meant to say you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it, or something like that. And you really just, I didn't say, well, yes, I was completely just like dumbstruck, like what just happened. And it made me think, and somewhere down the line, later on down the line as well, I came across other, recordings and whatever, and it made me think of this.
Recordings?
Like podcasts and about relationships and things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just brought me back to this scenario with us, and I pieced it together myself, and in retrospect, I thought the way that I had said it, probably I was communicating something to you along the lines of, whatever you do, it doesn't really matter to me. Your efforts are not really that
in vain.
Yeah, something to that effect. That's probably the way that you were interpreting it.
But it's got a lot to do with context. What happened before that? And between the two of us, what happened with you and your tone.
Yes.
And all many other factors as well.
Yeah. So I think it was generally just a very stressful time overall for both of us. And so the context around
moving is always stressful. Right?
Yeah. So the context around that was, I think it was quite stressful. So, but in retrospect, what the lesson that I took from that, and you can tell me whether this is on track, is that when you kind of minimize, or you put little value to the efforts of a man, that is very disrespectful.
Yeah, because men generally, women like talking, right? They like sharing their emotions and feelings. Men like you to do things with them. And generally, if you want to spend quality time with a man, you need to do something with him. Fishing, playing games, those type of things. So I heard recently that even if you don't, it's wise of a woman, even if you don't need, women are very independent these days. even if you don't need a man to do something, like change a light bulb, okay, it's a very small example, um, or like fix something, even if you can do it yourself, um, ask him to do it because he likes doing things, and try and ask him when he's in the absolute right frame of mind. Somebody said recently on another podcast we were listening to that choosing the right moment is so important. And when the boxes that needed to be moved, and but as the husband came in, she said, "Oh, I baked a pie, your favorite pie."
Yeah.
So after you've moved those boxes, then the pie is waiting for you. And of course, he rushed to do it, and he did with pleasure because it's some sort of reward. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like when you give a child a reward, men are overgrown children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so those type of things are very important. So timing is important as well.
Yeah. I think, well, speaking for myself, we don't put a lot of thought into these things, or we just take for granted that, it's just you're a person, I'm a person, and this is just, these things need to be done. This is just the way life is. You just get on with things, and you communicate what needs to be done, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not that simple. Taking your time and taking consideration and just putting the effort into the way you talk and how you convey your words. And I've learned that is super, super important.
But with the use of so much technology these days, we sit with each other. People invite each other for coffee or a meal, but they'll be busy with their phones all the time. So even couples do that. We're living in this world where people are indoors all the time, and even then they are spending more time with each other than ever before, um, but they still don't know how to communicate, and that's because of the overuse of technology. Of course, technology has its merits, and we definitely need it for many facets of our lives. But when it starts to be that is the word invasive, then it becomes a problem. And just articulating oneself in the correct manner can make all the difference.
Yeah.
So that's very important to think before one speaks.
Yeah, to not be rushed.
Yeah, I find just the art of conversation. It's almost been lost, and also as a teacher, you must have found the same thing that students and adults find it very difficult to write. So it's kind of become accepted or acceptable to write in a particular manner, which in our day when we were at school, it was totally unacceptable to write in that particular manner. So people are speaking in a particular way, and then writing it reflects in their writing. So yeah, just that art of writing and conversation, and just knowing how to just have a conversation, how to converse, and actually taking the time to do that, and making eye contact, and having the correct posture and body language and tone. So messages are often lost in text messages, and so much damage has been done by via text messages because there's no context. You can't see the person. You can't hear the volume or tone of their voice, and you can't see their body language, the expressions, and I find it very problematic. And the more technology we embrace, the less we're actually communicating, and that is the most bizarre part of it all.
Yeah. And then we lose the little bit of skills that we do have, or we did have we lose those skills because we're not really putting it into practice.
Yeah, so I believe firmly in tech fast. A tech fast at a certain,
Okay.
you start using your phone a particular time in the morning and put it away a particular time and don't touch it after that.
Yeah.
But we are inclined to use it till the moment we knock off at night, or or nod off rather. Yeah. So the first thing we do when we open our eyes is actually not greet each other, but check your messages, or they've got the excuse of using it for the alarm. And the last thing we do is check your messages once again, with people, family, and so forth that are like a million miles away. Um, so perhaps that's a good starting point.
Yeah. Okay. As
Because
we,
because that could also be perceived as disrespectful.
what, now having your phone out?
Yeah, like it is quite disrespectful.
Having your phone out while talking.
Yeah,
to
while talking, like
Okay.
because it's just your mind is somewhere, far away, and you're not engaging the person,
Yeah.
like they deserve to be engaged.
Yeah.
So
So just being present.
being present in the
That's
moment.
respectful
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Not being distracted all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So we've reached the end of the show. Thank you very much.
Thank
for joining
you
again.
for having me on once again. I look forward to it some other time.
Yeah, I hope so, inshallah. I just think it's really important to get a male perspective, and I'm really very grateful that you are willing to offer that perspective.
I hope that the listeners and viewers will get some value as well.
Yes, I'm sure they will, inshallah. Okay, so that's it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye bye.